but it's easy to pick the wrong number. It's actually, so this actually applies to the reading sections. Sometimes like you'll get a question and you apply your own opinion to it. And that's kind of what could happen here, where you could think, oh, it's 0 because that's so many points you you lost, had 200 points, you lost 100, you lost 200 points. And the same thing applies to the other sections where you don't want to use your opinion. You want to use what is actually in there. And it's really hard to do, especially if something you're like passionate about. Um, all right. In 1855, Louis traveled from Sacramento to Oregon, stopping to rest for only 10 hours of the 143 hours it took him to reach Portland. If his average speed while traveling without resting was 5 miles per hour, how many miles did he travel?
See?
How did you come up with C?
Um, because he's not traveling for 10 hours, so it'd be 143 minus 10, which is 133. And then 133 times 5.
Very good. Okay, and you got
Oh, wait,
you
no,
got
it'd be A. Sorry.
yeah, and just because they all end in 5, so that's what I was wondering. Yeah, I believe A is correct because it's 500 plus 165,
Yeah, I actually did 143 times 5.
and that's why that answer is there, just as a like, hey, what's going on? All right, try to apply some of the strategies we've been talking about as we look through these questions. Uh, there's no one size fits all, but you'll notice this one has a lot of words, a table, but here's the actual question. So I'm not going to read it all this time. I'll let you kind of decide how you want to approach a problem like this.
D,
Why is it D?
3.6 times 90.
Okay. Did you find any of this over here useful or
The sentence that was like W equals M times G was helpful because
exactly?
that's what gave the equation.
Exactly. So you knew to go look for it. A lot of the rest of it is not super useful. Did you actually multiply it or did you just estimate that it was the right answer?
I calculated it because I didn't have
For
an.
that extra comfort. I get it. I probably would too as a student. Now I would never do it, but it's okay. Like there's nothing wrong with it. I'm just suggesting that you don't have to do that. And it will, it saves you another 10 seconds, which you do that on, 5, 6 problems, all of a sudden it's an extra minute. Okay, let's take a look at these. All right, the current density in a wire is defined as the current in milliamperes flowing through the wire divided by the cross-sectional area of the wire in square millimeters. What is the current density in milliamperes per square millimeter in a copper wire with a cross-sectional area 6 square millimeters when a current of 15 milliamperes flows through the wire? All right, go ahead and take a look, see what you come up with.
Matthew, we have people renovating right now, so can I like step away for a
Of
second?
course, yeah, of course. Just
Okay,
let me know when
yeah.
you're back. Yep.
Thank you. Sorry, someone had to like come and look at my room because we're changing the lighting.
Cool. Yeah, if you ever need to step away, I mean, I probably do that all the time. I mean, I'm at home, people ring the doorbell, cat
Yeah.
wants food. It's like, unfortunately, I'm not in a box. I have, things going on here around me, but yeah. Um, so remember, this is what great example of those questions where you really want to not read all the stuff unless you need to, but you kind of
Mhm.
do. You have to go back and get the formula this time. So um, go ahead and take a look.
It would be B
Why is it B?
because it says it's 15 divided by 6, and the only thing closest to that is B.
So the only possible answers are like 6 divided by 15, 15 divided by 6, and 6 times 15, which are three of the four. Okay, so that is, sometimes you can just like look at the numbers and be like, well, what's the only possibility? But it is worth reading back and doing that. So um, hopefully you're starting to think about your strategy as you go through these questions. Your strategy should be, I'm going to, read the last sentence is what we've talked about. It's totally up to you. Then maybe scan the answers and then loop back to the beginning if you need to. And by the way, sorry, I know you're probably reading this, but this also works for the English, especially the passages. I would
Mhm.
strongly recommend reading the questions first, because then you know what to look for. And then and even especially when they're the ones where there's two passages that you're comparing between, it's way better to know, and you might even read them out of order, depending on, your circumstances. So what we're doing here applies to more than just math. Sorry to interrupt you. Go
Okay.
ahead and take a look at this question. It does require you to do a bit of work to solve it. It's not just a, look at it and divide or add problem.
Is it D?
All right. Did you set the equations equal to each other before I answer?
Yeah.
Okay. And this one, once you do that, and this is kind of a time savings thing that I'll start to talk to you about. You're just looking at this, and it's so much better if you can like move things without writing them. Like the traditional thing is to write 1.75 plus the 0.4x equals 2.35 plus 0.25x. If you
Mhm.
cannot write this and just write the result of moving stuff around, so like 0.15x equals zero point 0.6, does that kind of make sense to you?
Yeah.
Okay. And so when you find x, what did you get for x in this case? Did you get an X value?
4.
4. Okay. And see, I'm writing it as slow. If you know it's 4, why write it? Why even write it? Just put it back in. And it actually doesn't matter which one you put it into, but yeah, you got it right here. Good. Okay, let me let's have you look at this is these are calculator questions to some extent. You can sort of estimate them, but yeah, definitely good to have a calculator handy. This one didn't require one because of the niceness numbers, but I believe this one does require you to use a calculator. So feel free to grab it if you'd like.
C.
Okay. Did you write something like this at some point?
Yeah.
Okay. And you did you multiply this, subtract, and then divide? Like,
Uh, yeah, I multiplied 0.95 and 8.96 and then subtracted it.
all right. I was surprised by, yeah, that the result actually. Because I was looking at the magnitude of the numbers and I thought, well, it's probably this other number, but good. Um, that one took a little bit longer than the other. Um,
It took me a little bit to understand what he was saying because there's like so many.
yes. And there's repetition, right? That number's already here.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, the sooner you can, and since you'll have this on your paper, I hope you will. And if I know on the, it's easy now to just look on the screen, but I would print some of these out and just start like, making sure you circle and okay, that goes in there. I mean, it's easy for me to say because I'm sitting here on the screen, I can do that. Or, and I don't know if you have an iPad and a pencil. Um, I use that when I'm in person with people, and it's like, you just so much freedom to do this. And this is what people are doing in college nowadays. They're not just handwriting notes. They're doing it digitally.
Mm-hmm.
So okay, now not every question is going to be multiple choice. And we've looked at that grid yesterday. This is really important here. It says, note, disregard the dollar sign when gridding your answer. So in this one is asking for the cost in dollars. So we know, for example, that an answer could be like 2.75, and that would fit. Okay, but here's something that would not fit, 10.25. There's not enough room for that in the grid. So that's kind of a built-in check for your answer. Is if you get something that you can't grid, obviously there's a mistake for that. It's also unlikely that you would get something like 12.50 because that won't fit, even though that's a reasonable number here. All right, so go ahead and read this over, give it a try, see what you come up with.
$5.50.
Yeah, now, do you think that they would accept this in the grid?
Yes.
I'm not sure. So I would just give it the full answer because it's money.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, did really well on those. We're going to jump to trigonometry. Do you have a unit circle handy?
I can pull one up.
Okay, I can, if you don't mind grabbing one, I'd like you to have it up for these questions that we're going to do next because the the emphasis should be on being able to find the value or manipulating the equation, not finding the value. But you do need to know your sum of the unit circle, we'll say. Not all, but some of it. So let me know when you've got that up, please.
Okay, yeah.
So believe it or not, you do get a question like this on the SAT, ACT. So if you know your unit circle, you can find the answer pretty quickly. And this is why I don't know that you need to learn the whole unit circle, but you need to learn some of it. Where did those questions go? There it is. So what is that? 13.
A.
Yes.
Oh wait,
So
no, wouldn't it be C?
it's over here, right? It's over here on the left, and sine is the y value. So we know it's positive. And since it's right in the middle, that is C. Yeah. All right, let me see if why didn't this open up? Maybe it's already open. Okay. Um, right, so hmm, I put together kind of a variation on this question that you just saw here that I'd like us to do a few of. And you're welcome to use your unit circle. But we'll try a couple of these. So it's the cosine of 120 plus sine of A equals √2 minus 1 over 2. The way this problem was designed was to make sure that as the student, you knew how to find value in the unit circle. So could you give me the cosine of 120?
Negative 1/2.
Yes. So we have negative 1/2 plus the sine of A equals √2 minus 1 over 2, which can be rewritten as square root of 2 over 2 minus 1/2. Since they're the same on the left and the right, you can cancel them. So now we're just trying to figure out where is the sine of A equal to √2 over 2. And you'll notice there's a bunch of places on your unit circle where that's possible,
Mhm.
which means that you have to be able to find that value.
B.
Okay, and how confident are you in your answer?
Confident.
Good. Okay, so let me give you a few of these to try on your own. Again, and they're going to move between radian and degree. That's totally normal, reasonable here. Expect you to be able to do that. So we'll do some of these, and then we'll move into other trigonometry questions that you might see.
So cosine 3 pi over 2 is 0. So
It's really asking where the sine of A equals 0.
yeah, but that would be pi over 2.
There are more. So sine of pi over 2 is the y value. The y value up there is 1.
Oh, B.
Yes. Are these okay in difficulty, or I mean, are they okay for you to do a few more of these?
Yeah.
Okay. We're not going to spend the whole rest of the time doing it. You do have to know some of your unit circle, like for one question, but that's how you get a good score in these things.
A.
It is A. Yes. All right, let me find another degree one, and then we'll move on to something else. That one's too obvious. This one is, no, it's kind of obvious. All right, here's one.
A.
Is A. Good. All right. So let's go back to kind of the more not more. There's other type of problems that you will get. The first one kind of appears like it's one that we just did, but it's actually slightly different. So do you remember any idea or relationships that sine and cosine have with one another?
Uh, yeah,
Okay,
I think.
fair enough. So if we were to just graph this, like where is this roughly on the unit circle, just so you've got an idea. Sine pi over 5 is somewhere over here on the right. Okay. And
Mhm.
that means it's the y value, right? So it could be this right here. It could also be the x value up here. Let's actually do that in a different color. It could be the x value up here or down here. And then if you recall, there's that cofunction thing where it's pi over 2 minus the angle. Any of these stand without using a calculator also.
So we need to find lines that are the
I'm
same
sorry. Yeah, one of these is the same.
as the red or the black.
Black. I'm just saying it could also be the x value. Like that's how it would be at the cosine. The the x the x value here is the same as the y. The x value of the red is the same as the y value of the black. Are there any that you can eliminate is also another thing to think about.
B.
Okay, you can also eliminate A because it's the same angle and
Yeah.
there's no way that's the same. So it's either cosine 3 pi over 10 or sine 7 pi over 10. This right here is really how you figure it out. So I'll give you an example. The cosine of 80 degrees is equal to the sine of 10 degrees.
Oh, is it C?
It's not C. I'm sorry. It is C. Sorry. The wrong one, yes. So what I was trying to get you to do is do 5 pi over 10 minus 2 pi over 10, which is 3 pi over 10. So this co-function thing is important to remember. Really important to remember.
Mhm.
Okay. Let's look at a free response question that's really similar to this one, even though it doesn't look the same. It's the same idea.
I'm not sure how to solve this one.
What is the relationship between cosine 90 minus x and sine x? Are these equal?
Yes,
Okay, so if this one on the right is 4/5, what is the one on the left?
90 minus 4/5.
No, the whole thing, the whole thing. Like 4/5 is that. 4/5 is that.
Oh,
So that's the answer. So here's some ideas. We haven't talked about this here for the free response. We've talked about how to grid the answers, but sometimes the answer is 0, 1, -1, the number in the problem. Okay, it's the flip of the number. Okay, it's 1 minus the number. It's not a crazy calculation a lot of times. Like we tend to overthink the free response. In some ways, they're easier because they sometimes give you all the information you need. Okay, here's one that
okay.
is related, but you you want to draw a triangle in most of these upcoming situations. They don't have a triangle, a right triangle, by the way. It says in triangle ABC, the measure of angle C is 90 degrees. So I would recommend drawing a right triangle, making sure you label the 90-degree angle C, and then applying this to figure out the value of cosine B.
B.
So this next problem is related to that one.
Um,
So let me just throw some numbers up here. 0.6 over 1, because this is really over 1. What is 0.6 as a fraction? That might help here.
Is it also 0.6?
Yes. 0.6 or 3/5, all good answers. So what you're noticing is that a lot of these triangles are 3, 4, 5 triangles. 5, 12, 13, 8, 15, 17. You tend to see a lot of these on the SAT, ACT. Now they're not all multiple choice. Here is a free response question. You will have to draw the triangle in this case.
Is it 3/4?
Okay, so it's not super crazy trigonometry. It's not even stuff you learn later in the course. It's literally stuff that you've been doing up to this point. So your timing for starting your trigonometry class is really good. We'll just spend the rest of the time doing some more questions on these. Um, so I mean, you can see it's mostly right triangles. It's some unit circle, stuff like that. So here's another problem. Let's see if you can try to do this one without the unit circle just by looking at what's given here.
Is it D?
Well, it's definitely negative, right? Because cosine in the second quadrant, you're going left, so it's negative. Um, they're giving you the y value there on this triangle. So just drawing a quick, I mean, maybe you're like, well, it doesn't look, maybe it's not to scale, but like, does the x and the y have the same value? To me, x looks shorter
No.
than the y. Yeah, so the answer is actually C. if you stare at your unit circle long enough, you'll notice that √3/2 and 1/2 are always paired together. And then there's signs also. You can, think about signs, but they're always paired together. So the answer is C. It can't be the same. They're only the same when it's √2/2 and √2/2 plus or minus.
Okay.
All right, I was gonna do something else. Let me remind you the relationship between if I give you something in degrees, like 60 degrees to go to radians, you multiply by pi over 180. So it's 60 pi over 180 or pi over 3. And then if you want to go backwards, you multiply by 180 over pi. So just that could come up in a question here.
Okay.
And that is the first one here. So
So would
figured we
you
do.
recommend like memorizing as much of the
Yes.
unit circle as you can?
First quadrant for sure. First quadrant.
First,
It'll help. So this is related to what we just did. It is a free response question. See if you can
210.
very good. All right, and the last question we have time for today is not that one. Boy, that's the same one. It's why didn't that snip? There it is. Okay. This is going the other direction. So the reason you memorize them both is because you don't know which one you'll get, but you'll probably get one or the other, but not both. Basically, you have to convert this back to radians.
Okay. So just be
Times,
the
yeah, it ends up being 4 pi. So
okay, so just be the
A is 4, yeah. All right, we're gonna go ahead and stop there for today. Good job, good effort. You're definitely working hard when we're together.